happened here that
From the
day.
debris of the World Trade Center emerged tales of heroism and bravery. Among those who survived to tell an extraordinary story, this woman, Tania Head. She claimed to have been on the 78th floor when the plane hit, struggling over rubble with severe burns to safety. She told reporters 9/11 also left her grieving.
I was on the South Tower and I lost my fiancé that day.
She became a victim's advocate, meeting former Mayor Rudy Giuliani at Ground Zero, where she also told her story to tourists.
When you give them a face of somebody who was there, they really connect with what happened here that day. Can we talk to you for a minute, please?
But the tale has started to unravel. Merrill Lynch, the financial management company where she claimed to work, had no record of her employment. Her fiancé, it seems, never existed. It saddened her friends.
So many hundreds of people looked up to her as a mentor, as a symbol of hope. At this point, we're just left feeling angry and hurt and betrayed and sad.
So convincing were her claims, she became president of a counselling and pressure group for people involved in the tragedy, which is now keeping its distance. A statement reads, Tania Head is no longer associated with the World Trade Center Survivors Network. Relatives of victims are less measured.
It hurts the family, and we're very outraged, my whole family. You lose trust in all of America, and that's sad.
Psychologists are trying to determine why anyone would construct such a fiction.
Occasionally, when they have something dramatic in their history that they can't deal with, tell a story about themselves that they begin to believe and that is told as a heartfelt story and comes through to other people as a true story.
There's no suggestion Tania Head made money from her story. The only response has been from her lawyer. After telling the tale to dozens of reporters, tourists and politicians, now she has no comment. Robert Nisbet, Sky News, Washington.
Of all the personal stories to emerge from the World Trade Center attacks, few could rival those told by one woman. Her tale struck so many dramatic notes, perhaps too many. Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo explains.
Down at the site, you'll see that there's a ramp.
Tania Head's remarkable story made her an inspiring tour guide and role model. But Head has now been removed as president of a 2,000-member organization of Trade Center survivors, as a front-page New York Times report casts serious doubt on just about every aspect of her high-profile story.
She apparently played the part very well.
The man who's replaced Tania Head as president of the Survivors Network says she did have scars on her arms, and there was no reason not to believe her tale. Head claimed to be one of a small group of people at or above the point of impact who escaped from the South Tower and woke up 5 days later in a hospital. She claimed to have lost her fiancé in the other tower and to have returned a dying man's wedding ring to his grieving widow. But the Times was unable to substantiate anything about her story, not the hospital, nor the existence of a fiancé, widow, wedding ring, or place of employment.
It's disillusioning. For many people, she was very helpful. She was almost, as I said before, inspiration, almost a mentor to many other people who are struggling and building new lives, and they looked up at her as an exemplar. What's going through those people's minds right now, I can't imagine. So the pain that this is going to is causing is enormous.
Zimbler says his biggest fear is that this embarrassing news will detract from the work their organization does with legitimate survivors. And while Rudy Giuliani's picture is shown on A1 of the Times taking one of Tania Head's tours of Ground Zero, he says he doesn't remember her.
I've had so many contacts with survivors, it'd be hard for me to isolate this one.
Now, nobody claims that Tania Head ever benefited financially from her story, and she tells the New York Times she did nothing illegal. She has, however, hired an attorney who did not return my phone calls today, and several calls that I made to phone numbers listed for Tania Head were also unanswered. Chuck?
We did a story about Wells Crowther, the young man in the red bandana who died on 9/11 after saving a number of people. Tania also insinuated herself into that story, didn't she?
Yeah, she did, and Wells Crowther's parents say that Tania met with them and told a very detailed and touching story of how he had saved her, even promising to send them a framed piece of her burned clothing from September 11th. And I talked to Wells Crowther's mother, Allison, tonight, Chuck, and she said she was just really saddened because she really liked Tania, and this doesn't take anything away from her son's story. He rescued other people that we're sure of.
Oh, not at all. No, it doesn't do that, but it certainly it causes them unnecessary pain.
But it's sort of a confusing and sad tale.
It is. Okay. Thank you, Melissa.